Hello, everybody. Today I'm joined by the wonderful Tracey Northcott. Look, anyone who doesn't know Tracey, and you should, she's a vacation rental mentor and the founder of Tokyo Family Stays. Tracey, tell us a little bit about the business.
I started Tokyo Family Stays 10 years ago. It was kind of by accident. I started off with a single unit, and I wasn't, I was really just expecting it to be a side hustle. And then I really enjoyed it. And so I just expanded and kept expanding, and then had a $1 million business within about 5 years. So I learned a lot along the way.
It's amazing. What an amazing industry that in 5 years you can have $1 million business. Can you let us know how many properties did that equate to you managing to get at that point to the $1 million mark?
It was a bit of management, it was a bit of arbitrage or rent to rent, and it was a little bit of ownership. So it was a really big mix, and I was really focused on not necessarily the type of building, but really the type of customer that I was trying to attract, and making sure that I had the property that matched my ideal client. What I discovered was, I actually had a big portfolio of small units, and then I figured that really wasn't great for my ideal client. So I condensed my portfolio but increased my profit. So having $1 million business on lots and lots of properties is not as profitable as having a smaller portfolio and having a deeper profit from each one.
That makes total sense, and it brings us neatly on to what we're here to talk about today, which you will definitely know a thing or two about, which is how to create incredible guest experiences within properties. Can you give the audience your top tips?
Firstly is know your guest. I always say there's as many types of guests as there are subway stations in Tokyo. So, you really know your guest and know who you're trying to attract. And that way you understand what problems or what things they're going to want or need before they've arrived, and anticipating those. So that's really the first step to getting exceptional guest experiences.
Amazing. I love this. Anticipate. So you're not just waiting for that person to arrive and then troubleshooting. You're actually anticipating in advance what they might want. And can you give us some examples of what that means in Tokyo? Because you're dealing with foreign guests coming from outside, right?
Yeah, that's who I'm targeting. I'm really gearing all of my marketing for that inbound tourist. So I understand that when they arrive, they're not necessarily going to speak the local language. They're not necessarily going to understand how, the average Japanese house runs and the things that are included. So I like to have a nod to the local aesthetic, but I also like to have the creature comforts that I know a Western inbound tourist is going to need. So that's everything from having a proper bed. Traditionally, Japanese people sleep on the floor, which is fine as a novelty, but it's not that comfortable on a long term. And then also having things like coffee cups, and also knives and forks instead of just chopsticks. So just having those few little tweaks by understanding how your guest is going to interact with that space is really the key to having those just little bits of surprise and delight with the guests.
I think that's fantastic, and clearly it's a very sort of specialist market that you're in, right? You're catering for Europeans and Americans coming in to Japan.
Correct.
So I guess you've had to have that realization quite quickly that it is about curation ahead of time. I think that's applicable to people across the vacation rental industry, even if there isn't such an extreme kind of difference between the guests they're catering for and the properties they're doing. It's a good message. It's making sure that the property is fit for the occupier.
Oh, look, absolutely. And, knowing your guest is always the first, the first place to start. That knowing your guest really does just determine a whole bunch of decisions that you make along the way. Which furniture you choose, how what style, all of those sort of amenities and inclusions. So, but, starting with, your ideal guest in mind, so that you're actually curating something that's specific and not sort of generic. So you want to add some soul into the place.
You're speaking my language, Tracey, as you always do. It's like you're reading my mind. I always say this. I say, look, what one thing our industry has, well, many things, but one of many things it has on the hotel industry is this ability to create genuinely brilliant environments for clients. You're not walking into a chain hotel where, yes, they've styled the one in Tokyo this way, but the one in New York could easily look the same. This is nodding to the local style, the local ways. It's been put together by a host, and then you, as a property manager, have just made sure it has all those amenities that your client will want to be able to have their home from home experience. So it's bringing what they want in a home into what already exists in Tokyo, and how can the hotel industry compete with that?
Yeah, and also, as someone who is local, I know the sort of things that people need to thrive and survive here. So I make sure that I bring my experience and my secret sauce into each and every one of my homes, so that my guests, will have success and will be comfortable. There's nothing worse than not knowing what to do or how to take the rubbish out, or how to I always think that guests are trying to do the right things, so giving them the tools to make sure that they can succeed is always the best way.
Fantastic. And that's how you get your hands on those 5-star reviews.
Absolutely. I've got to get those 5-star reviews.
Okay, Tracey, thank you so much.
Awesome. Great to talk to you.
Thanks.